Before the beat drops. Before the chorus hits. There's always something deeper hiding underneath. This channel isn't about music at face value. It's about the psychology behind it, the emotions, the fears, the illusions artists package into sound. Here, we don't just listen to songs. We dissect them. Frame by frame. Emotion by emotion. No sugarcoating. No surface-level praise. Just the raw meaning behind the music you thought you understood. If you're ready to hear songs differently, let's begin. Is not autonomous. It requires input. It requires an audience. It exists to broadcast outward, not inward. This immediately positions the narrator's emotional identity as something externalized, meant to be heard, judged, replayed, or ignored. Love here is not private intimacy. It's public transmission. That framing shifts the relationship dynamic from mutual connection to emotional exhibition. The narrator isn't just feeling, he's performing his feelings, packaging them musically so they're digestible. This reflects a broader cultural pattern where emotional expression becomes stylized, curated to impress rather than to reveal truth. Instead of asking, "Do you understand me?" the narrator asks, "Do you like what you hear?" Validation replaces vulnerability. The song suggests that love is sustained through attentiveness, keeping the emotional music playing, ensuring the other person remains engaged. But this introduces pressure. If the music stops, does the love stop too? The narrator seems aware of this risk, which is why there's an undercurrent of anxiety beneath the upbeat tone. The performance must continue. The signal must remain strong. Because silence equals emotional distance. The metaphor also introduces commodification. A stereo can be tuned, adjusted, upgraded, replaced. It's an object. And when you objectify your own emotional expression, you risk becoming interchangeable. The narrator markets his devotion like a product, customizable, responsive, always on. This turns love into service delivery rather than organic connection. And services can be evaluated. Accepted. Rejected. Upgraded. The relationship dynamic begins to resemble consumer culture, where emotional value is measured through entertainment and consistency. You must keep producing emotional content to maintain engagement. If you falter, you risk losing your listener. This performance-based love is exhausting, but normalized in modern relational dynamics, especially where social validation and performative affection dominate. The narrator's identity becomes intertwined with his ability to emotionally entertain. He's not just a partner, he's a provider of emotional atmosphere. But atmospheres are unstable. They fluctuate based on mood, energy, circumstance. And when love is built on continuous emotional stimulation, calmness can be misread as disinterest. The song avoids confronting this directly, but the metaphor exposes it. There's also a subtle power imbalance embedded in the dynamic. The narrator positions himself as the broadcaster and the partner as the listener. That sounds equal, but listening is passive while broadcasting is labor. One performs. The other evaluates. This creates vulnerability on the performer's side. The fear isn't just losing love, it's losing audience approval. Because if your heart is a stereo, rejection doesn't just hurt emotionally, it invalidates your entire mode of expression. The production of the song mirrors this performative structure. Bright, catchy, engineered for replay value. It's emotionally accessible, but not emotionally raw. That accessibility is intentional. Rawness risks alienation. Performance invites applause. The narrator doesn't present flawed emotional depth, he presents polished devotion. Curated affection designed to be appealing. But curated love raises a difficult question. If you're always presenting your best emotional mix, does your partner ever hear your silence? Your static? Your distortion? Or are you afraid to let them? The metaphor unintentionally reveals emotional insecurity. the need to remain listenable to stay loved. This is where the song transitions from playful to psychologically revealing. Because when emotional expression becomes tied to acceptance, authenticity often suffers. You start filtering your feelings through what will be received well. Love becomes algorithmic. You optimize emotional output for maximum approval. The narrator never states this fear outright, but it lingers beneath the charm. He's not just expressing love, he's ensuring it's heard the right way. This dynamic reflects modern relational communication, where affection is stylized through grand gestures, curated messages, aesthetic expression, all broadcast outward rather than explored inward. The risk is that emotional intimacy gets replaced by emotional branding. You become known for how you love, not who you are when you're not performing it. The song also implies emotional availability on demand, the stereo plays whenever requested. That level of accessibility can feel romantic, but it erodes personal boundaries. Because real emotional systems require rest, silence, reflection, internal processing. But performance-based love discourages silence. Silence risks misinterpretation. So the music keeps playing, even when emotional exhaustion sets in. The narrator's devotion is sincere, but sincerity delivered through performance still creates distance. Because performance always contains an element of control. You choose what to reveal, what to amplify, what to mute. The partner falls in love with the broadcast, not necessarily the unfiltered source. And that gap can widen over time. The song ends without resolving this tension. It maintains the charm, the rhythm, the broadcast, never pausing long enough to question what happens when the stereo stops working. But that's the unspoken reality behind the metaphor. If your heart functions like a stereo, it can malfunction. And when it does, you find out whether your partner loved the music, or the person producing it. If this song sounded different to you after this breakdown, that's the point. Music doesn't just entertain. It reveals. Sometimes it says things we feel but don't know how to articulate. And sometimes, it hides truths in plain sight. If you see music as more than sound, if you hear the psychology behind the production, the emotion behind the performance, then you're in the right place. Subscribe if you want more dissections like this, where we don't just listen to songs, we decode them. Until the next track. Listen carefully.